It is an unbelievable experience to walk through a forest where you know maybe a handful of people have ever been before. Nothing changed. Nature has evolved the way it has done for thousands and thousands of years. It's a spiritual experience that makes you more determined than ever. I fell in love with mountaineering in the Alps. I immigrated to Canada. First I lived in the Rockies and then I met my husband. He had been working at Strathcona Park Lodge. So when life in the Rockies became too hard and too difficult to make a living, I moved with him to the island and I met Jim Balding and Myrna Balding. We were welcomed with open arms and we immediately made a part of the family. We both taught on and off at Strathcona Park Lodge, mostly mountaineering, a bit of orienteering, rock climbing. Coming from Europe where there is not a whole lot of wilderness left, I fell absolutely in love with the totally untouched wilderness. I also felt very akin and drawn to the First Nations perspective of the land. So yeah, it was not surprising that Strathcona Park became my second home.
Jim and Myrna Balding embodied a wilderness ethic that was not common at the time. Jim and Myrna understood that the whole park was a system that was interdependent and codependent, and they were watching that ethic be eroded. Jim was in the terminal stages of his life, dying from cancer. He called together some of the people that had been involved at the lodge, particularly Stevie and Marlene Smith.
And he asked me, shortly before he passed away, if I could take over his job to protect the park. You know, what can you say? Somebody's on their deathbed. Somebody has to take over the job. And of course it was close to my heart, so I said yes.
And so the Friends of Strathcona Park was born with a mission to preserve, protect, and defend Strathcona Park from exploitation by external forces.
I think Cream Lake is a pearl. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the park, and it was actually the day that I took this picture and we were sitting here and we heard a helicopter chirp, 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 chirp. And the helicopter landed, and out of that came Ron Lampert, who was the manager of Strathcona Park. I said, well, look at that, hey, isn't this a beautiful picture? And this is just a pearl, isn't it? Look how beautiful is that? And he said, well, you better enjoy it because this is all going to be taken over by mining and probably is going to be a road up here so everybody can see it, and there probably is going to be a mine site because there are mining claims all over the place. And I looked at him and I said, no, over my dead body. That will never happen.
The governments of the day were very, very ruthless and callous governments in terms of wilderness protection. And the governments of that day decided it would be wise to cut the heart out of Strathcona Park and divide it in two. 20 to 25% of its area had been removed from protected status. was decreed that the values that were inherent in that land through resources to be taken out via minerals and logs to be removed via logging, the economic benefit of that far outweighed any risk, and besides there was lots of wild land left in BC anyway. The fact that they would simply just cut the heart out of it and open it up to exploitation was mind-boggling.
We had to think about the strategies and to figure out what is it really we're talking about. We then crisscrossed the whole park and visited every corner and every angle of the park that the government wanted to cut out. And all the communities around it to get people's perspective. How did they feel about the park? How did they feel about those areas the government wanted to delete? Basically, 99% said absolutely not. There was only one road that they could get in. One side was Butter Lake and the other side is a steep hillside, rock face, so it's the only way in.
It was magnificent in terms of the bonds and the friendships that were created. Many of us left our employment and gave up our paychecks to be there. The conditions were not easy. We were out on a logging road in January in the middle of Strathcona Park, and I can only tell you it's freaking cold. The calling to be there was bigger than a lot of stuff that up till then had been more important. We just decided that was our life work at the time. And whatever happened, they weren't going in there. We knew the media was the message. We weren't going to win this on that logging road. We were going to win this on television. More and more as time went on, we built a reputation of being respectable and being respectful, and ultimately that won the day for us.
The greatest accomplishment of the Friends of Strathcona Park was not to back off. I remember a meeting with the park's planner, Mel Turner. He laid out the plans for Strathcona Park with areas chopped up, etc. And I said, well, no, that's not going to happen. He said, well, we have seen people protesting for many, many years, and the government just makes a plan because we are trained in it. You are not trained in making planning for the park's future. So I know you will just back off one day and we'll just carry on doing our planning. And I stood up and said, not with this lady. First of all, I'm a woman and I will not back off. 2, I have pledged an oath with Jim Baldwin before he passed away, so I have an obligation to carry on. And 3, I came from Holland and both my parents were in the underground resistance. So it is in my genes. Don't ever back off. I think a lot of it is listening to the trees, listening to the environment, learning to strategize, recognizing like when you have to move and when you have to back off a little bit and stay put. For me, the important thing is to have a vision. In the case of Strathcona Park, I had a vision that Green Lake would always stay pristine as it is on the pictures. There was no question. We would win this game. I believe we humans are creators, and the way we create is to have a vision and follow that vision. We have worked for the last 30 years on having a better relationship with the government and with parks managers, and I think we have achieved that at this point. So now we have to hand it over to younger people, and I can just see the rise of a new movement. A new Friends of Strathcona, a new environmental rise where we actually will learn to listen. Once you will learn to listen and resonate with each other, you will achieve bigger things than if you're fighting it. So I think the time of fighting is over. It is now time of leading. Take people there, help them, teach them how you build trails. Nothing makes you fall in love more than actually building a bridge over a little creek that gives you access to Big Interior Mountain or somewhere else where you can climb. Teach them how you work together with government. Teach them the political games and how you do that. Teach them how you use the media. If I was young now, I would be kind of desperate. You look at a picture that seems to be hopeless. All you need to do is change the position of the observer. The beauty of nature is that nature, especially untouched wilderness, and especially Strathcona Park, has a spirit that will teach you.